Our last panelist for this evening on the issue of apartheid is Shawan Jaberin. Shawan is the Palestinian national and a father of 4 children. Since 2006, Shawan has been General Director of Al-Haq, the first human rights organization in the Arab region. In his current position, he is coordinating Palestine's case with the Office of the Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. Shawan is a recipient of the Reebok Human Rights Award for his defense of human rights. According to Amnesty International, he was the first Palestinian prisoner of conscience. Over several years, he served various sentences under administrative detention, arrest without charge or trial, and he was banned from travel by Israeli occupying authorities. In 2022, he was appointed as an arbitrator of the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. In 2013, he was elected Vice President of the International Federation for Human Rights, Paris, and re-elected to FIDH Secretary General in 2019. In 2013, he was elected Commissioner for the International Commission of Jurists in Geneva and re-elected as a member of the ICJ Executive Committee in 2018. Shawan has received a BA in Sociology from Bizet University and an LLM in International Human Rights Law from National University of Ireland in Galway. He has served as a part-time lecturer at Bizet University. He has headed various fact-finding missions on behalf of FIDH and ICJ, and has conducted human rights training programs, including training Iraqi human rights actors and academics in Jordan in collaboration with the International Human Rights Network. Now, Shawan will be addressing how the UK government can respond and what steps they can take in light of these reports. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and I would like to thank the organizers, ICJP, and I suggest to them to, instead of International Center, to have International Court of Justice to Palestine, or for Palestine. If you accept this, if this is the case. I shifted my, completely, my presentation, and I would like to share with you and highlight a few things. I felt that maybe there is a lack of knowledge or a lack of information to the politicians, to the policymakers here. If that's the case, I suggest that the House of Commons to establish a fact-finding mission and to go to Palestine, to study the situation there, and to see what's going on there, if that's the case. I have a doubt that they have a lack of knowledge, but they have a lack of political will to act. And I do believe that UK has a historical and also ongoing obligation to end the Israeli violations against Palestinians. That's the issue, how I look at this case. Another thing is, the main thing that challenges us all the time, to be honest with you, I'm in this field since so long. Now I have agreed here. How to maintain hope in our people's minds, and how to maintain hope in our young generation's minds. This is an issue. And I think without recognizing Palestinians as a people, and they have equal rights with the others everywhere. One of these rights is self-determination rights. I heard, Mr. Johnson and others, they reacted strongly and they recognized the self-determination and also resistance and and they took actions. I am not comparing victims with the victims. Victims are victims everywhere and all the time. That's the case. And we are standing strongly and speaking out strongly to support victims and justice for victims everywhere. That's the case. We have no problem with that. I'm not comparing. But when justice becomes as a selective, this is an issue we have to point it out directly. And what's going on these days, there is a selective in implementing international law and respecting international law and fighting for justice. It doesn't serve, I think, the humanity mainly first, and it doesn't also help to maintain rule of law, globally speaking, and I think strategically speaking, this is a threat. And each one has to be concerned about what's going on. We are with all actions were taken lately against, invasion, against occupation, against attacking, in support of victims of Ukraine. We are with that. Would they implement 10% of what they did and what they acted? They asked me, my colleagues, to speak about, what UK can do. They can do a lot. Just 10% of what they are doing these days. That's it. And I think it's enough for us. It's enough to support the ICC to continue and to show their cooperation with the ICC. And this is part of their obligation under the statute of the International Criminal Court. I saw, when I was at the airport, I came at the airport, I saw an announcement. I think it's a great announcement, to be honest with you. I would like to read it just to you, and it's enough for Palestinians, this one. It's in Ukrainian language, and it's also in English language. Metropolitan Police, that's travelers who have been in Ukraine. If you have been in Ukraine and may have witnessed or been a victim of any possible war crimes or crimes against humanity, then you can report this to UK police. You can report this by scanning the QR code below or by visiting. And there's a link. Alternatively, you can make yourself known to a police officer at the airport who will be able to assist. This action is in support of the International Criminal Court investigation into possible war crimes in Ukraine since 21st November 2013. Any evidence gathered by UK police may be shared with the ICC in support of their investigation. We will treat all of the information you provide us in confidence. This is, the announcement. When Palestinians, acceded to the ICC looking for justice, here, officials in the UK, they spoke to President Mahmoud Abbas. And they said to him, this is information. They said to him, if you don't accede to the ICC for the next 25 years, we will vote for you at the General Assembly of the United Nations. Don't accede to the ICC. This is their obligation under the ICC statute. They are a state party, and they have to encourage other states, to accede and to ratify the statute. This is what they did. This is what I ask them to do, is just have a political will to treat every people in the same way. This is very important. is to put yourself in our position. Just if you imagine, if you are in our position, what you can do. Another thing is, international law is not Palestinian invention. It's, the European mainly, and the West. And after the horrific and war in Second World War, that's the lessons that they learned. Do they need another Third World War to activate these lessons? We don't need this. We don't need this. I think this is, my message to the UK, leaders, to the UK lawmakers. I'm not here to list, just a list. It's enough for us to take some actions, even to support the UN mechanisms, those that are ruling on these cases, to support the commission. It was established by a Human Rights Council last year to study even the roots of the problem. I think the situation in Palestine is not just only apartheid. Apartheid is the main thing, and we have, all of us here, we have a common position regarding that. But also, it's also a settler colonial regime also in Palestine, to be honest with you. Our occupation, it's a unique occupation. When professors, when academics, when others, they come to Palestine from South Africa and elsewhere and see how the Palestinians live there, they say this is beyond also what it was in South Africa, because they are targeting our existence there and completely ignore our fundamental rights to exercise our self-determination and also the return of our refugees from outside equally like others. This is where we are here. And completely, I will finish here to say that it's not lack of information or knowledge. I think it's a lack of political will. Another thing is the public, they can push forward them. This is a very important point. All of you can make a difference, I think, and you can stand strongly behind the case, stand strongly behind, the calls and the arguments and the actions we call for. This is a very important thing, and thank you. And we keep a hope, and I have no doubt that the future is for justice. We will not give up. We will not frustrate. We have a deep, deep pain, but it's not a frustration. And the future is for justice, no doubt, and Palestinians has not to be fear, from a long-term future. But unfortunately, the price is high. You can make it less, and you can shorten the time of this suffering. Thank you so much.